Creative Vitality Jam Sessions. Here we have intimate conversations about reimagining creativity and supporting and building community. We must be active participants and walk the walk. The route must be paved with justice, built from respect, equality, and most certainly love. I'm Helen Pickett, and I'm today's guest. I will be asking myself the same questions I ask my guests every week, but I do not know them by heart, so I will be looking at my notes. So, where am I in the world? I am in Philadelphia, PA. A bit more of who I am. I'm a choreographer and workshop leader. I danced for 11 years with Ballet Frankfurt under the visionary direction of William Forsythe. Upon retiring, I moved to New York and joined a theater company called the Wooster Group. I also studied acting during this time, worked in about 5 off-Broadway plays, and created theater, well, actually art video films with 3 amazing women, Eve Sussman, in which I was a founding member of her cooperative, the Rufus Corporation, Tony Dove, and Laurie Simmons. I taught at the Ailey School for 10 years, and during this time, I also taught at other universities in New York City, and then I also created my own workshop called Choreographic Essentials. During this time, I also taught Forsythe improvisation technologies around the United States and in Norway. In 2005, my life took a huge shift. It was during this year that Mikko Nissinen, the director of Boston Ballet, offered me my first professional choreographic commission. And this shifted my life up until this point. So for the subsequent 15 years, from 2005 till 2020, I've created over 40 ballets. I earned my MFA from Hollins University, and I was awarded an honorary doctorate from the University of North Carolina School of the Arts. I have lived a full and creative life, certainly reimagined many times over. I think that is part of the reason why I thought about this kind of talk show in this time. How can we reimagine ourselves over and over again? Well, the bottom line is that we do. It's a daily practice. That is life. We are always reimagining each other, ourselves. We are inspiring each other. It is a constant. That is the beauty of life. That life really comes down to the constancy of life is change, and therefore reimagining can happen all the time. It just doesn't have to be always, at decimal 10. These are small happenings that happen in a daily pace, and sometimes that feels slow, and sometimes it feels like something's come to us all of a sudden. So what have I been working on? I have been reimagining myself, as we all have in these times, and I came to this idea of a talk show to talk with really extraordinary artists, to share them with the world, because I think it's great and it's important for us to see how many people are out there doing this and to hear their stories. So I've done that. And I'm about to embark on virtual choreography over the next few weeks, as a matter of fact. More coming on that. Let's see. I have to read my notes because I don't know my own questions. Pardon me. Can I recall one example of how I had to reimagine my creative life? I want to cover a few fronts here to go through phases of a dancer, basically. Firstly, I think being a creative person is being in a state of a constant reimagining and embracing that. In that way, we can hang on to some of the habits that feel good to sit in for a while, but we know that it is going to be about change. when I was a dancer, every role I danced. And then more importantly, when I had to dance those roles over and over again, I dug in and tried to figure out what would make those roles feel spontaneous. And it was during this time that I really understood the power of the present, of being really dropped in to what I was doing. And I speak about this often as a choreographer with dancers. What does touch really feel like? What is that? What is the presence of touch? How does that fulfill not only us, but then perhaps jump the fourth wall? How does that presence of touch, the presence of really looking at each other, of listening, because partnering is listening, as we all know, how does that, how does that really form the idea of art? So the idea also that work never stops, that always excited me. I loved the work in the studio, sometimes more than the actual stage, the digging in, getting injured. Getting injured was a huge learning curve. And I railed against it every time I had a big injury. And then I accepted and I dug in, and I always learned something with injuries. That's a reimagining. Retiring from being a dancer, that was another huge shift, a huge refocus, a huge redirect. You had, when a dancer retires, or anybody, when you stop something that you've been devoted to, that you've really found your identity in, it will take a hot second. And it took me 3 years to really figure out who I was without the label of professional dancer. Huge reimagining moment. Realizing that I didn't want to become an actress or didn't want to continue being an actor. But there, I think it's very important, because I think we need to try things. We need to feel the spaces to really understand what we want and what we don't want. And I had to leave dance for a period of time when I retired to actually understand how much I needed this path. Dance was my path, and I needed to leave it to understand that I wasn't doing it because it's something I'd done my whole life. I was doing it because I needed to be in that place, in that community, with this group of amazing artists. And I needed to rediscover what that meant. And choreography is what that ended up meaning to me. Also teaching, I love to coach and mentor. But this leads to the next question, actually, a standout memory. Isn't life a series of standout memories, right? But one that really, really stood out for me was the first day I was in that studio as a choreographer. It might sound cliched, but I felt like I was home. I felt like I fell back in love with this art form, but in a vastly different iteration. But I also felt like it was the community, the power of the shared space, the power of generosity, the power of we and us that really took my heart. I realized this is where I wanted to be, I needed to be, and I felt like it could be a place where I might be able to make a difference and practice my art. And talk about reimagining. I really am thankful for that first group of dancers in Boston Ballet, because and Tomiko, I was in there and I'd done a ton of preparation. Everybody that knows me knows success favors the prepared mind, Louis Pasteur. Great quote. I was prepared, but nothing can prepare. Well, nothing could prepare me. I'll speak for myself for that enormity of the responsibility I felt for these dancers in the room who were working with me, and we were figuring out what this was together. Do I have insight I can share with the Creative Vitality community about living a creative life and what it takes? I think living a creative life is like no other. It's simply magnificent, and I feel lucky every day that I can be an artist. I think this also comes from work with Frankfurt Ballet and working so much with improv. But life is improvic, and living in that space of being in an improvic life, that mindset, I think that has greatly helped me. Oh, believe me, there are times when I dig in my heels and I say, nope, not changing. But I think perhaps because of understanding and knowing that life is improvic, I can get there and say, I can dig my heels in all I want, but the bottom line is that change will happen. That's just the bottom line. I think knowing that it is not only being ready to shift weight, views, ideas, but also embracing those ready ideas, those ready places. And yes, being prepared as much as you can is creative life, is life. And then the times when you're not prepared, let's say if you're less prepared, but you have figured out a certain amount in your life, you can step into a shift and know it's not going to be as insurmountable as you might have thought in a creative situation. I think you do need to have the need in order to be an artist. It can't be a maybe situation. I know I need to be here. I know hundreds, thousands of artists that need to be here, and that in and of itself is true inspiration. The next question is something that can spark inspiration. And I thought about this morning, and I really came to the idea that you are inspiring. Artists, you, human beings. Human beings are so inspiring. Human beings and how we get up and keep getting up and keep getting up. That is a constant source of inspiration. And on a lighter note, I don't know if we need to be light, but on a lighter note, the grandeur of nature. Every time I go outside and I get to see nature, I am inspired by the color, by the breadth. It's so fecund now. All of the green. It's you can breathe in so many scents at once. So nature is a constant source of inspiration. Now here is the tip, man. Here's the tip. Clemens made us a pair of dumbbells. These are homemade dumbbells. These were empty paint cans, and then he poured quick drying cement into this. And then this is a wooden, here, I'll bring it closer. That's a wooden rod that he put inside the quick drying cement. And these are about 11 pounds each, and he made us two. And I'm telling you, they work. I use them every day. Oh, maybe I can get stronger. 11 pounds isn't so heavy, right? Well, I'm trying. It's not the gym. So home workouts, do a ton of those. And from all my physical therapy, from all my injuries, I can really do quite a few different home workouts when I get to it, but I try to get to it at least 3 times a week. Okay, and then final question. As part of the CVJS platform, I do believe in supporting and building community. I believe I've worked toward that end for 15 years that I've been a choreographer. And what would I like to see shift in terms of building a more equitable community? And I have to say, I would like to see respect emerge as a constant. Respecting each other, and then equal seats at the table, and having this beautiful dance community embrace all of who we are. That is what I'd like to see change. And I know that change is continuing and it is happening, but I think we could work toward that in a greater way. So respect and equal seats. And that concludes my interview. CVJS is live every Wednesday at 2 and Sunday brunch at 1. Our next guest is Sarah Hillmer. She's an extraordinary human being. Currently, she is the managing director of staibdance, and she is the creator and founder of ImmerseATL. I worked with Sarah very closely over the past 10 years, and I can't wait for you to meet her. In the description box below, once CVJS is posted to our YouTube channel, you'll find links to CVJS on social media, upcoming guests, and biographies. Now, this is a very special show because I want to introduce you to the excellent behind-the-scenes intern, assistant, co-producer, Gracie Spina. Gracie, can you come on so we can see you? Here she comes. There she is. Gracie, tell us about yourself.
So I am 21 years old, and I'm currently going into my senior year at the University of the Arts, which is really crazy. And I'm currently living in South Jersey with my mom at home, which is amazing, especially during everything. It's nice to be home with family. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Gracie. You can stay here with me while I do the last few sentences. I want to thank the beautiful and resilient dance community. I'm so proud to be a part of this community and for so many years. I want to thank you for tuning in to Creative Vitality Jam Sessions and being a part of the Creative Vitality community. And very importantly, I want to say love and respect for all and equality for all. Everybody walk the walk, and we can do this together. Reimagine creativity. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye.